You probably have a lot of good qualities, but one of your less desirable characteristics is being too hard on yourself. You feel inadequate compared to others. You blame yourself for mistakes, and you're overly critical about everything you do. The problem is that being so hard on yourself isn't actually making you better in any way. It's destroying your mental and emotional health, draining your energy, and making it impossible to enjoy your life or reach your full potential. So how do you break this bad habit and finally learn how to be kind to yourself? In this video, we will look at 7 reasons why you might be too hard on yourself. No. 1. You had high expectations. Chances are, if you're too hard on yourself, it's because you have very high expectations of yourself. While having goals is a good thing, having too many can be detrimental to your well-being. Goals give us something to strive for, and having something to work towards can be motivating. However, setting too many goals, especially unrealistic ones, can cause you to be much harder on yourself. A study published in Clinical Psychology Review found that people with perfectionistic tendencies set higher goals than those without such tendencies. However, these individuals also experienced more negative emotions and worse performance. They also reported more fatigue and were more likely to procrastinate. Number 2, you always compare yourself to others. Social media has made comparing ourselves to others easier than ever. When you're constantly scrolling through feeds, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. It's important to remember that everyone has their own journey, and comparing yourself to others will only bring out negative feelings. A study in Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that social comparison can lead to decreased self-esteem, especially when you're comparing yourself to people who are more successful than you are. This is because the more successful the person you're comparing yourself to, the lower your self-esteem will be. Number 3, you grew up in a critical environment. If you grew up in a household where you were constantly criticized or put down by your family members, you may become too hard on yourself. According to a study in child development, children who experience harsh criticism from their parents or caregivers are more likely to develop negative self-perceptions and engage in self-criticism as adults. They found that these effects are especially true for children who are genetically predisposed to being critical of themselves. Number 4, you have low self-esteem. Do you often find yourself thinking negatively about yourself? Perhaps you often focus on your flaws and ignore your strengths. Low self-esteem means that you don't see your worth. And when you don't think highly of yourself, you tend to be much harder on yourself than you need to be. A study in Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin showed that people with low self-esteem tend to have more negative reactions to success and are more likely to attribute their successes to external factors rather than internal ones. This means that if you have low self-esteem and achieve something, you'll either not celebrate your wins or quickly diminish them instead of acknowledging your efforts and celebrating your victories. Number 5, you have unresolved trauma. Past experiences can affect how you view yourself. Experiencing trauma can leave you feeling vulnerable, scared, and ashamed. These feelings can manifest as self-blame and self-criticism. Research shows that those who have experienced trauma tend to have more negative self-perceptions than those who haven't. A study in the Journal of Traumatic Stress found that participants who had experienced trauma were more likely to report symptoms of post-traumatic stress, which included negative feelings about themselves and their abilities. Number 6, you have certain mental health conditions. Some mental health conditions can make you more prone to being hard on yourself. For example, anxiety makes you overthink things and imagine worst-case scenarios. This can cause you to be overly critical of yourself. Depression can also make you extremely hard on yourself. You may feel like you're a failure as a person, friend, family member, or anything else. A study in the Journal of Affective Disorders found that people diagnosed with anxiety and depression were more likely to report engaging in self-critical thinking than those without these conditions. And number 7, you have a fear of failure. What's the opposite of being too hard on yourself? It's being too easy on yourself. Sometimes we may avoid being too hard on ourselves by being too easy on ourselves. We may not exert much effort into what we do because we're afraid of failing, but avoiding challenges prevents us from learning and growing as individuals. A study in psychological science found that people who had a fear of failure were more likely to procrastinate and have lower levels of motivation. They also found that those who had a fear of failure were more likely to give up easily and not persevere through challenges. So how do you overcome this bad habit? Now that you know some of the possible reasons why you're hard on yourself, let's look at how you can stop doing this. 1. Acknowledge your mistakes. Instead of ignoring your mistakes, acknowledge them. By acknowledging your mistakes, you're giving yourself a chance to learn and grow from them. This can help you see your mistakes as opportunities for growth instead of seeing them as proof that you are inadequate. 2. Practice self-compassion. When you're hard on yourself, you're essentially treating yourself like an enemy. Being hard on yourself is a form of self-attack. So to overcome this bad habit, you must treat yourself like an ally. Instead of being hard on yourself, practice self-compassion and be kind to yourself. This may sound easier said than done, but there are ways to make it happen. One way to practice self-compassion is to use positive self-talk. For example, instead of saying, "I'm so stupid for making that mistake," try saying, "I'm only human and everyone makes mistakes." By using positive self-talk, you're helping yourself see the positive side of things and treating yourself with more compassion. Another way to practice self-compassion is to forgive yourself. Everyone makes mistakes, but dwelling on them won't help anyone. By forgiving yourself, you're acknowledging that you're only human and that everyone makes mistakes. 3. Focus on your strengths. It's easy to get caught up in our weaknesses and what we can't do, but focusing on these things will only make us feel worse about ourselves. Instead, we need to focus on our strengths and what we can do. Make a list of your strengths and refer to it whenever you're feeling down. This will help you see yourself in a more positive light and make you realize that you're capable of great things. 4. Set realistic goals. Setting goals is a great way to motivate ourselves, but it's important that our goals are realistic. Unrealistic goals will only set us up for failure and make us feel worse about ourselves. When setting goals, make sure they're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This will increase the likelihood that you'll achieve them and prevent you from being too hard on yourself. 5. Don't compare yourself to others. Comparing ourselves to others is a recipe for disaster. Everyone is on their own journey and has different strengths and weaknesses. Comparing yourself to someone else will only make you feel worse about yourself. Remember, you're awesome just the way you are. 6. Seek professional help. If you're struggling to overcome your tendency to be hard on yourself, don't hesitate to seek professional help. A therapist can help you explore the underlying causes of this behavior and develop healthy coping mechanisms. They can also provide support and guidance as you work to change this bad habit. Being too hard on yourself isn't helpful. It's harmful. It robs you of your joy, wastes your energy, and prevents you from reaching your potential. By understanding some of the reasons why you may be hard on yourself, you can take steps to change this bad habit. Remember, you're only human, and it's okay to make mistakes. The important thing is to learn from them and move forward. Be kind to yourself and believe in yourself. You're capable of amazing things. Are you ready to take the next step towards self-improvement? If so, watch this video on signs you're becoming a better person. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with those who might benefit from it. Your support means the world to us.